3 subchapter of your chapter 2. Now, what about continuous probability distribution that you need to know other than what we call discrete probability distribution? Okay, so we have done binomial, we have done Poisson, we have done approximation. All these are done. Now we are talking about continuous. So under continuous, there will be normal probability distribution, followed by standard normal probability distribution, and finally normal approximation of binomial and Poisson. So in terms of approximation, you have three. Poisson approximation of binomial, second, normal approximation of binomial, and third, normal approximation of Poisson. So there will be three types of approximation, and there will be three types of probability distribution. So that will be binomial, Poisson, and normal. Okay, so this one is considered one. Now, what about continuous probability distribution that you need to understand other than discrete? Okay, if let's say we refer to our previous data following discrete, we know that we are talking about exact, what we call exact event or exact outcome, exact number of success, in terms of interval. So it will be exactly following certain value. Okay, but somehow in the real world situation, there will be times where you have to have a probability distribution that can take at any interval of point. Okay, for example, if I'm talking about number 1 until number 6, okay, I can find exactly the probability of in terms of point for example 1.5, 0.5, 2.3, 2.1. Okay, so that will be any values along your interval. Okay, unlike your discrete, it will be exact value. For continuous, it will be any values on the interval. Okay, so that's why in this case, if you understand, S can take any value. Okay, if let's say if this is your S, okay, S can be any values on the interval. It could be 1.1, 1.2, 5.3, any values until 6. Okay, so how do we cater these types of what we call data? Okay, so let us look at few concepts that you need to understand. Last time when we talk about discrete, okay, we know that x that we are talking about is the number. Okay, the number is either the number of success, okay, the number of success, or the number of success in an interval. Okay, so this x, your random variable can take exact value of x, and if we what we call represent our probability, our random variable x equal to a certain value of x, in terms of table we can have this one, or in terms of what we call histogram, we can have this one. Okay, in terms of not to say in this case it's not to say histogram, but we can say a dot plot of our probability of x in terms of what we call graph other than table. Now, what happened? We know that to find exact probability, let's say if I'm talking about x equal to 3, so if I know that my x is following binomial, okay, then I know how to solve, because I know this will be given by ncx px q to the power of n minus x. Okay, for example, if let's say we talk about binomial, what if I have my x, okay, my x is equal to what we call certain value, for example 3.2. How can we find this? Okay, before we can find the probability value, what will be the probability value if my x is equal to or maybe less than or equal to this particular value, there will be few concepts that you need to understand. Okay, concepts of continuous probability distribution. Now, in terms of the differences of graphical types, this will be a discrete, this will be continuous probability distribution. And you can see when we say continuous, it is continuously on an interval, okay, represented by the what we call slope, okay, of your continuous probability distribution. Now, unlike your discrete, we are specifically talk about certain value. Okay, they don't continue. Okay, they don't continue like this one. So how do we tackle this particular what we call situation? That now few concept that you need to know. Last time when we talk about this probability, we know that the probability, what we call the summation of all probability value from 0 until, in this case, 3, you will have 1. Total probability is 1. The same with continuous, total probability will also 1. So let us look at the concept of continuous random variable x. Last time, discrete random variable. Now we are talking about continuous random variable. Now, there will be three things about probability density function. When we say probability density function, what we are referring to, we are referring to this. Okay, to this what we call bell shape, and we are talking about this particular area. From the x-axis with until the area covered by the curve. Okay, so this is what we call curve, and this is your x-axis. And where is your probability value? The whole thing inside here is your probability value. What is your maximum probability value? Maximum is 1. Okay, now let us understand this, what we call probability density function here. Okay, and probability density function is actually described by this particular curve known as your function of x. This one, let me put it in green. Okay, so this is your probability density function. So we are talking about this function, and this function is represented by this curve. Okay, below is your x-axis. Now, your function of x, your probability density function is greater than or equal to 0. Means that the probability value will be always positive. Okay, greater than 0. Now, unlike finding the probability, are all of you with me now, class? It's too silent. I'm afraid I'm talking to myself. Is everyone with me now, class?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Now, unlike summation of probability for discrete, we know when we sum up all these values that we have, all the summation will give you 1. What happened in terms of continuous, your probability value is what we call is nak cakap bahasa Melayu dia probability kita punya probability value tu ada di bawah area curve ni, di bawah ini sahaja yang saya shadedkan. So that's why it is represented this way. Now, the probability value is equal to 1, the total probability, whereby what does this negative infinity to infinity means? If let's say your problem specifically talk from your alpha, your infinity is from, let's say, negative 8 to, let's say, 8. Okay, so this is your A and B. A and B. This is your limit, the limit of your probability density function taken for from this value to this value. And the probability here is equal to 1. Total probability. Okay, total probability. Now, the third one. Okay, if you take specifically, as I mentioned previously, if you take specifically a certain value of alpha, infinity to infinity, okay, if you take from A to B, okay, it will be covered by the area under the curve. Okay, this one. It should be simple actually. I hope I explain it to you in simple way, but I don't think it is the way that I should convey. Okay, but please understood that your probability density function for continuous random variable will be following these three what we call criteria. The first one, the your function of x will always be positive, greater than 0. Your total probability from your negative infinity to positive infinity for your function of x, that will be your curve here, with respect to x is equal to 1. And if you are talking about the probability of what we call finding the probability of specific what we call in this case, this is the one that I mentioned, okay? If you want to find specific probability of a random variable x that following continuous random variable from A to B is actually obtained by integrating the function of x with respect to x from A to B. Okay, this is the general term, okay, in terms of function of x, but if you need to find the probability of x from certain value, then what happens is actually you need to integrate. Okay, but in this case, in your situation, this integration has been simplified for you. Okay, so integration will no longer need to be done. It has been simplified. Okay, simplified in terms of in table. Okay, so you don't have to find the integration. So you just need to refer to your table of normal. Now later we will see how we can check the table of normal. Now, so far, do you have any question, class? Do you have any questions? I would say, class, you, even though you have binomial, Poisson, and normal, usually the normal distribution will be much harder than binomial and Poisson, because for normal equations, usually it will consume more marks. Okay, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so you have to be very careful since it will cover more marks for other questions. Okay. Now, if you don't have any questions, what else should you know about this normal probability distribution? Okay. For example, if you are talking about binomial, okay, we know that if x following binomial, okay, we know that to find the probability of x equal to certain value x is obtained by ncx, px, q, and minus x. You can find the probability, or you can use the binomial table. Okay, you can use the concept of x less than or equal to x, this one. Okay, so you have the first option, or you can have the second option using the table. But what about continuous? What would be my function here? How do I know what is the function? The function of what? The fx that we are talking about. What is our fx? So the fx that we are referring to is this one. Okay, this is your density function for normal probability distribution. Now, how suddenly it become normal? Okay, just now we are talking about a continuous random variable. Then suddenly it become normal. So in your case, class, the continuous random variable that we cover in your EQT 271 will be normal probability distribution. If you refer to other textbook, continuous random variable could be uniform, could be there will be few other types of what we call continuous random variable, but for your case, we cover only one. Okay, so that is normal probability distribution. So how does my function look like if I have my binomial as this one? Okay, if I have my Poisson as what we have in Poisson, so what will be my normal probability distribution? So it will be look like this. And if I were to find the probability of my continuous random variable, actually I need to integrate this. So that's why we have to integrate using this. Okay, so this is what happened. But since we know that we are not going to integrate, so we just use the table. So what else should you know about this normal probability distribution? So in terms of function, this is the function. In terms of the distribution, this is how your distribution looks like. Okay, X is distributed following normal with the parameter mean, mu, and lambda, and the variance is sigma squared. So this will be your distribution of your X that follow normal probability distribution. So these particular terms can be said as X follow a normal distribution with mean, mu, and variance sigma squared, or X is normally distributed with mean, mu, and variance sigma squared. Okay, so now you can narrow down your understanding that for normal probability distribution, my function of density function is this one. Why density? Because we are talking about the area under the curve. That's why we are talking about the density. Okay. Now, how does the distribution looks like? The distribution looks like this one. What are parameters involved? Parameters involved are the means and the variance. Okay. So far that will be the fundamental things that you should know. Now, what does mu and sigma squared or sigma refers to? We know that our normal probability distribution looks like this one. Okay? And we know that in chapter 1, when we talk about normal distribution, or sometimes we call it as symmetric distribution, we know this is how it's look like. And one thing that for sure is the measure of central tendency, that is the middle value, refers to the mean of your data. Okay, now what should you know and what should you understand about this mean and sigma? Okay, look at this first. Look, changing mu shift the distribution to the left or the right. Why? Because mu refers to the mean. If let's say I have my X distributed normally with mean, let's say 70, and sigma is 3.5, for example. Okay, this is my X1. If I have my X2 following normal, with the mean is 85 and standard deviation or variance is equal to let's say 3.7. Okay, what does this mean? It means that in your first, if I were to plot this, okay, let's say this is 70, this is 75, this is 80, this is 85. Okay, when we say x1, what will be the distribution for x1 distributed this way, I may assume that this will be the distribution of my x1. Okay, so this is my x1, whereby mu x1 is equal to 70. What about my second distribution? My second distribution is 85 with 3.7. Okay, so I have this second distribution that will be mu for x2, where the mean for x2 is 85. Assume this is truly symmetric. Ya. Nampak saya punya lukisan ni tak berapa nak symmetric. Assuming that this is symmetric. So this is what it meant. Bila ada perubahan pada mu, iaitu mean bagi satu-satu taburan x1 dengan x2, apa yang terjadi? Mu yang berbeza ini menunjukkan there will be a shift of mu. Maknanya distribution kita akan ikut mean kita sebab center dia pada mu. So distribution pada x1 ini, pada x kedua yang ini. Okay. Apa berlaku kalau perubahan pada sigma pula? Sigma squared ataupun sigma merujuk kepada variance dan standard deviation. Changing of sigma increases or decreases the spread. Okay. Maknanya lagi besar sigma, lagi besar dia punya spread. Okay, berbanding dengan 3.5 dan juga 3. Let's say ini square root of 3.5, ini square root of 3.7. Okay, for example. So, ini adalah antara penceritaan bagi mean dan juga sigma square yang kita ada pada kita punya taburan X kita. Okay, so kena ingat pertama, apa mean bagi tahu? Mean bagi tahu location, measure of central tendency bagi taburan data kita yang kita ada. Dan sigma square merujuk kepada spread dia, sama ada dia kecil ataupun besar. Lagi besar nilai sigma square, lagi besar nilai spread dia. Lagi kecil nilai sigma square, lagi kecil lah nilai spread dia. Okay? So given the mean mu and variance sigma squared tadi, we define the normal distribution using the notation this one. Okay, so saya ulang balik yang tadi lah. Now, another illustration of the shift by mu and the spread by different sigma. So this is another example if I can what we call portray them in terms of three different distribution. Okay, so you boleh imagine dekat sini taburan yang pertama. Okay, if let's say kalau saya boleh letak di sini yang ini contoh dia x2 tertabur secara normal, saya assume ya mu2 let's say lah kita ada 85. Okay, so yang ini saya letak sigma square. Lepas tu kita ada yang kedua, kita ada yang ini x1 tertabur secara normal dengan mean 70, 80 contoh. Sigma square kita tak tahu, for example. Dan yang ketiga, x3, kita ada x3 tertabur secara normal dengan mean, contoh kita kurangkan 5, kita ada 75 dengan sigma square, kita punya variance. So awak boleh nampak dekat sini dalam kes ini kita assume sigma square dia sama, contoh kita ubah dia jadi sigma yang sama. So kita boleh kata let's say sigma dia contoh 2.5. So dekat sini 2.5. So apa yang berlaku? Kita ada taburan normal bagi 3 variable x3, x1, x2 yang mempunyai mean yang berbeza tetapi mempunyai variance yang sama. Okey, berbeza dengan kalau saya ada mean yang sama tetapi saya punya variance berbeza. Contoh, kalau yang ini saya boleh bagi andaikan let's say ini ialah x2 tertabur secara normal dengan mu contoh 75, sigma dia, let's say sigma dia kecil 1.3. Okey, so ini yang hitam, yang merah. So saya boleh andaikan taburan bagi yang merah ini X1 tertabur secara normal dengan min 75, variance dia ialah let's say 2.7. Okey, dan yang ketiga, okey, sepatutnya ketiga ni hitam So X3 tertabur secara normal, min masih 75, variance dia sebab dia serak besar, so let's say kita andaikan contohlah 3.4. Okay, so ini andaian yang kita boleh andaikan bila kita nampak taburan normal bagi data-data bagi taburan yang kita ada ni lah, so kita boleh andaikan seperti ini. Boleh faham tak yang ni? Can you understand? Sorry, I forgot to speak in English. Can you understand, class? So you can imagine what happen if you have different mean, in this case, with similar variance and different variance with similar mean. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Now, what else should you know about the theoretical properties of your normal probability distribution? This is more or like the concept of probability that you should know under discrete probability distribution. Under discrete probability distribution, we know that total summation of probability must be equal to 1. Okay, smallest probability is 0, cannot be less than 0, which will be always positive. Okay, what else? Probability equal to 0 means that the event is unlikely or impossible to occur. So this concept is for discrete. But what about for normal probability distribution? So this kind of properties you should know about the normal probability distribution. So what are the things that you should know? So it will be, the first one, it will be bell-shaped curve, or the curve is symmetric about the mean. So means that you know that the middle value of your normal probability will always be the mean. Okay, and it will be symmetric. Bila symmetric, both are the same. If you are talking about 50% here, then you have another 50% at the other side. Okay, so the mean, median, and mode are equal. So we know that the mean is equal to the mode is equal to the median. This is the understanding that we learned in chapter 1. Okay, only one mode means that we have only one peak of curve. Okay, unimodal. Unimodal means that one mode. Okay, curve is continuous since the random variable x is continuous, where x could be taking any value from negative alpha to negative infinity to infinity. So your x can take any values from negative until positive, from the smallest negative value to your smallest positive value, or to the largest negative value, for example negative 850 to positive 850. It could be any values under infinity and negative infinity. So what you should know that the curve is actually will not touch the x-axis. So it will always be above the x-axis. Okay, but somehow later on, if you see the curve more or less touching, it's actually not touching. Okay, so you need to understand it will never touch the x-axis. Please understand that. In terms of picture-wise, it could be sometimes misleading. Okay, and the last one, the total area under the curve is equal to 1 or 100%. So we know that the probability value for area under the curve is 1, or we call it as 100%. That would be a total probability. Okay, as what we have learned under discrete probability distribution. Class. Any question so far, class? Class, any question?
No, William.
Any question? Okay, no. Can you still follow me, class? Can you still follow me? Still understand, class?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you. Then I will continue because we haven't reached the content of our normal probability now. If you can turn your textbook on page 57, 58, and 59, there will be a transition of what we call continuous, okay, continuous probability distribution. And we know that for our continuous probability distribution, we cover the normal probability distribution, right? But somehow on page 59, right after the properties of the theoretical normal probability distribution, you can see there is a topic by standard normal probability distribution. Right, class? Okay. So what is this? What is this all about? Why? Okay lah, from here to here, okay, understood. Because, okay, what one type of continuous probability that distribution that we will learn is normal probability distribution. But why suddenly we have to learn about standard normal probability distribution? Okay, why? Now class, imagine. Imagine if you have different situation of this. Okay, you have problem 1, you have problem 1. Okay, in problem 1, x is distributed normal with mean, for example, 25 and variance is 0.95. Then you have another problem, problem 2. Okay, you have x following normal with the mean is 103, 130 and variance is about let's say 10.2. And you have, let's say you have another problem, let's say you have the n problem. Okay, so problem n, you have x following normal, and your last problem, x is following normal with mean, let's say 90, and the variance is, let's say 15.3. Now class, imagine how many this normal distribution table that you need to check, class, if you have this particular situation. Because what, class? We know that to find the probability, we are not going to integrate. No integration. Okay. What happened? We are going to use our table, right, class? So what happened? If you have different types of normal problem, class, in this case, how many tables that you will refer? Class, class, how many? Class, how many problem do I have here, class? Let's say lah, I change this into, let's say this is problem 20. Okay, problem 20. So how many table of normal that you need to refer to, class? What is the implication here, class? Yes, you will have to refer to 20 different normal tables. Okay, so what happened is that when you have different problem, your probability distribution will follow exact normal probability distribution, which will have different mu and different variance. Since there will be different types of problem that you may have, okay, what happens is that they standardize this. They standardize this, okay. There is a need to standardize, okay. Standardize so that you will have to refer to one table, okay. You standardize the normal table. So what happens when you standardize the normal table, okay, you will have to refer to one standard normal table only for you to solve your problem, not 20, not 50. Okay, every single problem will be transformed into a standardized normal probability distribution, where it becomes what? Just now we know X is distributed following normal with mean mu and variance sigma squared. There will be variety of normal table. Since we have variety of problem, we standardize this into standard normal. Okay, and when you have your standard normal 0, 1, so this will be your guide in your problem solving. So what happened here, class? What happened is that when you standardize from this particular, in this case, this is your X following normal with mean mu and sigma squared. You standardize into you are no longer talking about X, but you are talking about Z, okay, following normal with the mean always 0 and the variance always 1, or standard deviation is always equal to 1. Okay, so please understand the transition from normal to standard normal, because afterward we are going to refer to this particular standard normal probability distribution in our problem solving. Understood, class? Class?
Yes, madam.
Okay, now how this X becomes Z? Remember last time, class, when we discussed about numerical data presentation, after discussing about the outlier, if I'm not mistaken, outlier before or after the outlier, we discussed about the, if you turn to page, position, we are referring to the position of our data. So we have what we call the standard norm, the Z-score. Okay, in chapter 1, okay, chapter 1 last time, we have discussed about Z-score, but very not into detail, Z-score. So this Z-score is the one that we are using in terms of the transition from X becomes standard normal. X that following normal becomes Z standard normal. So this Z-score is what? Okay, so the Z-score that we are referring to is this one. Okay, this one is referring to the position of your X. So where does your X equals to? Okay, so following this Z-score, what we call a formula, we have what we call our standard normal probability distribution. So don't just ignore this one first. I just want you to understand that the transition from the normal, okay, to standard normal, okay, require the Z-score, where the Z-score is given by this particular formula. Okay. Now, the illustration of what we have from the original normal to the standard normal. So look at this particular example. So I have my, in this case, my X is distributed with normal, mean 5 and standard deviation is 10 squared. Okay, when I apply this standard normal, what happens is that it becomes, so I have my, in this case, my mean in this, I don't want to do the calculation, but using this standard, what we call z-score, we transform this into z distributed with normal, with mean 0 and standard deviation or variance equal to 1. Okay, as simple as this one. Okay, this transition, how this can be done, we will cover this after we finish with the concept. Okay, we will cover after we finish on the concept of probability for standard normal. Okay, so we are going to see this afterwards. Now everything is about concept. So most of the discussion tonight is about the concept of how to find the probability using the table. Okay, now I believe you can read from your textbook the whole things that I have just discussed. Okay, but the things that I need to let you understand is the transition from normal to standard normal. How we can get that in terms of the table wise. Okay, so I want you to read this part from your textbook. I have discussed this previously, so I don't want to repeat it again. Okay, just remember from your normal probability distribution, okay, you will have x normally distributed with mean mu and variance sigma squared. When we transform into standard normal, okay, probability distribution, it will be z following normal, but with what we call specific value of mean 0 and variance 1. Okay, so just remember this. Now, having said this, okay, you need to understand how this become things that you should understand. Okay, just disregard this first. Okay, disregard this first because this should be at the last part. I forgot to change into the last part. Now, if you turn to your page of 59 until 60, this one I need to explain to you so that you can understand. Okay, so please refer page. Okay, refer page 59 until 60. Okay, 59 until 60. Now, how am I going to find the probability? Okay, so when we say area under the standard normal distribution curve, area under the standard normal, so area under the standard normal, so I just put this one. This refers to probability value. Why I need to understand about this probability value before I can even answer my question about problem involving continuous random variable. Okay, there is a reason why this topic should be covered first before we can go into a specific problem. For example, on page, if you turn to your page, class, can you please turn your textbook on page 63? Okay, on page 63, okay, or even 62 actually, 62 until 63 and afterwards is the what we call the real problem involving the continuous random variable. Okay, but before we can understand how to solve the problem, we need to understand how to read the standard normal table. Class, if you refer to your standard normal table on page 212, can you please turn your textbook on 212, class? Okay, have you turned to page 212, class? Class?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, on page 212, you can see standard normal distribution. On page 213, you can see standard normal distribution, but the shaded area are different. Now, this one refer table, standard normal table for page 212. The other one is also area under the curve. Okay, this is the one that you are referring to. But the other one is what we call the same actually probability, but that one is referred as the upper tail probabilities, because we are referring to the tail of the distribution. Okay, so there will be two ways on how you can find the probability value of your given patient. Is either you are using the upper tail or you can use the middle probability value as this one. Okay, now imagine if you need to find the probability as what we have covered before. Okay, if you need to find the probability, before, okay, in order for you to find the probability, okay, let's say x following binomial, okay, n and p, okay, for px less than or equal to some value, let's say 3, okay, you can refer to your table. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the things that we refer to in terms of your area here. Okay. If let's say I am referring to my table, okay, standard normal table, for example, the first one is this one, where the probability value, this one is your probability value. Probability value. Okay. And where does this value refers to in your table? The probability value shaded in the green box. These are all the probability values. Okay. Now, what do you have on the x-axis? Okay. Since we are talking about we are talking about z. Okay. Z following normal, it means 0 and standard deviation or variance 1. Okay, we are talking about z. Okay, that's why our z is the one that along the x-axis. We are talking about z here. Okay, now if I were to refer, let's say this is my area under the curve. Okay, and this is my mean, which is mu is equal to 0. Now, if I were to refer to a probability value, so here 0, in this case, just to make it easy, okay, z is equal to 0, and this one is another z, okay, z that we have in our case. So what we have here will be, okay, so it will be pz from 0 until what value of z here? Let's say here is z1, okay, z until z1. So if I were to refer to this area, this will be this area. Okay, we are referring to the probability value of the shaded area. Okay, now there will be different what we call different types of probability that we are referring to. Okay, and in order for us to find the probability here, okay, you need to understand on how you can manipulate this particular probability, what we call probability value that you have in your area under the curve. Now, the first concept, okay, if you are referring to your the first, if you look at your page 59, the first area under the curve is number A is area between A given Z value, then Z equal to 0. So this one is between T Z from 0 until given Z. So let's say Z1. Okay, this one is Z1. Now, this will be directly from table. Directly obtained from table. What about if I were to find the probability of this one? So in this case, okay, if I were to write down in terms of the notation, okay, this one would be, let's say I just put here in terms of notation. So P Z from Z1 until Z2, okay, how can I find the probability value which is shaded here? Okay, since my table that I need to use is the given probability is this one in the shaded area, so I need to manipulate the given problem in such a way that I can find the probability of the area that I'm looking for. Okay, in this case, I need to manipulate this into this particular table. Since we know that we have symmetric, we know that symmetric means that it is 50% here, 50% here. Okay, if I were to talk about this area, okay, this one is actually the same as this one. Okay, this one is actually the same as Z1 here. It's just the one, this one is negative value, this one is positive value. Okay, if I were to find this, this can be written as P Z is from 0 until Z1 plus P Z from 0 until Z2. Okay, so there would be the same concept apply for this particular equation. I don't think I will make it simple for you since it is too abstract because we don't use specific what we call specific problem for us to solve. Just leave this behind first. Let us look at a few examples of how we can use this particular table to solve to find the probability value. So if you turn to your page 60, example 2.13, okay, example 2.13, find the area under standard normal curve between Z equal to 0 and Z is equal to 1. So you need to know how to write this in terms of notation of probability. Okay, so if you are referring to area under the standard normal curve between 0 and 1, okay, so you are talking about, okay, you have 0 in the middle, okay, and you are talking about from 0 until 1, so 1 is here. Okay, you need to find what is the probability here. Okay, so how I can write it in terms of notation? So this will be probability of Z from 0 until 1. Okay, so obviously this can be straight away defined or taken from your standard normal table. So look for Z. So your Z will be along this first column followed by the first row. Okay, so if I'm talking about Z is equal to 1, okay, in this case, what is this one? If let's say I'm referring to 1 here, let's say I'm referring to here for 1 here, okay, so this one is actually Z equal to 1.000, okay, 2 decimal points, sorry, okay. This one is actually Z equal to 1.01. Okay, and the last one here is Z equal to 1.9. Okay, now I'm looking from 0. I know, yes, using this table, it is starting from 0 until 1. So I need to find 1.0. Here 1.00, so this is the one that I'm looking for. So this is the Z value 1, and the one that we are looking for is the probability value, that is this one, the probability value. Okay, so this one, the one that I'm looking for is 0.341, 0.341. Okay, I hope I explain it in a simpler way, but I can feel it that it is somewhat not straightforward. Okay, but I hope everyone can understand. Just ignore about this one. So it's actually this one tells you that if you integrate the function, this function, in our case we call it as fx, in this case is this one. If you integrate this with respect to x from 0 until 1, if you integrate, you will get 0.3413. But since everything has been simplified, so you don't have to integrate, you just use the table and you can just find the probability value easily. Now, before I move to the second example, does everyone understand this, the first example here, class? Do you understand, class? Class? We have few minutes only before we can stop. Do you understand, class?
Yes, madam, yes.
Okay, if yes, then I continue with the second questions. Now, the second example, 2.14, find the area under the curve, under the standard normal curve between z negative 2.34 to 0 to 0. So if I were to note down the figure, so this is how it looks like. Okay, don't forget to write something in the chat so that I can check your attendance, class. Yeah, so we are talking following the distribution table. The probability is given from 0 until z1 here. But since we want to find the probability given questions, okay, now we have from negative 2.34, where is the location? So negative will be lower than 0. So let's say this is where the negative 2.34 is located. The one that we are looking for is the probability for this region. Okay. Now, since your table refers to this, so you have to manipulate your given situation to follow the table here. So how to manipulate? We know that this is a symmetric probability. So just transform into the left to your right hand side. So it becomes, let's say this is 2.34. So this is the same exact probability that we are looking for. from negative 2.34 to 0 is actually equal to from 0 until 2.34. So how can I write it down in terms of notation? So Pz from negative 2.34, okay, until 0 is actually the same as Pz from 0 until 2.34. So this is the first thing that you need to understand in terms of notation, described by this figure. Okay, so from this you can directly use your table. So look for 2.34. So Z, look for 2.3, 2.3. The second decimal is 4. 4 is here. So your value of probability, this probability is 0.4904. So it's given by 0.4904. Yeah. Understood, class? Understood? Any
Yes, madam.
question? If okay, thank you. Then we
Ah.
move to the
அந்த வேலை இல்லன்றதுலாம் வந்துட்டு ஒன்னும் சொல்லலையா எதுவுமே.
hello. Hello, can you mute your mic? Okay. Now, example 2.15, class. Now, your second example will be for number 1. This one, yeah. So, from we are talking about 1, okay, so 0 always in the middle, 1 until 2.7. So 1, this is 1, 2.7, this is where 2.7 is, 2.7. So this is the area of probability or the probability that we are looking for. What is the value here? So in order to manipulate from this particular understanding, so what can we do? And having said that it is symmetric, okay, so what happened is that we can transform this into this kind of notation. So the question is Pz between 1 until 2.7. Since we need to fulfill this particular normal curve, okay, so we do this. This is actually obtained by, okay, if I were to write down, so it will be from 0 until 2.7, the whole area, minus from 0 until 1. When I deduct the whole area, okay, the whole area here, I think it would be best if I put in terms of green color. Green color, the whole area, okay, the whole area from 0 until 2.7, deduct with the, let's say the blue color here. Blue color. Okay, so it will be easier for you to, so I change this into blue. Okay, let's say this, okay, and we are talking about 1, and we know the blue area is here. Okay, then we can find the red shaded area. Okay, equal to, okay, equal to the one that we are talking about is here, from 1 until 2.7. Or in terms of notation, this will be P0 Z 2.7 minus P0 Z until 1. Okay, so Z 2.7, 0 until 2.7, this part, 2.7, 0. So this one, so we have 0.4965 minus 0 until 1. So we have 1 here, 1.00, so 0.3413. Okay, so you will get, okay, 0.1552. Okay, so for number 2, it would be much easier. Not really easier. Easier is actually easier, but you have to think about the whole distribution. Okay. For example, we are talking about the middle is 0. We are talking about negative 0.9. Let's go further away here. So we are talking about 0.9. So negative 0.9 is here, less than. So we are talking about this area. Okay. So we know that it will have a reflection here because it is symmetric. So we know that I use it blue color easier. So blue color 0.94 this one. Okay. So since we need to manipulate this particular what we call this probability value. So we will have in terms of notation, this will be P Z from 0 is greater than 0. Sorry. Half of your, we know that the total probability is 1, right? So this half is 0.5, another half is 0.5. So this 0.5 is notated as P Z greater than or equal to 0. Okay, Z is greater than or equal to 0 minus PZ, sorry, PZ from 0 until 0.9. So the whole area, half of the curve is 0.5 minus 0 until 0.94, it will be 0 until 0.94, 0.94 is somewhere here. That will be 0.3264. So you will have 0.1736. Okay, so please take a look of the whole area shaded by the given condition in your equation. So that will be the first few examples of what you will have for your how to find the probability value. So before we stop, okay, just one exercise before we stop. The exercise is from page 2.6. That will be on page 61. So let us try. Okay, determine the probability or area for the following standard normal variable. So the first one, okay, is from, if I were to give the illustration, so this will be 0, okay, until 0.83 in between. So this is the area. Okay, number 2, okay, given by from negative middle 0, negative 1.7, 1.57 until 0. So this is the area. Number 3, from 0 greater than 0.44, 0.44 here, greater than, so this will be the area. Okay, now since time almost approaching the 11, so let us finish this one. So how we can find this? So this one is directly from your standard normal table. So this will be given by what class? This will be given by, what is the value class? Exercise 2.6. Okay, directly from table, this one will be PZ0 until 0.83 is given by 0.2967. Okay, so this one is the reflection of the symmetric distribution. So we are talking about from 0 until 1.57. So this is the area that we are looking for. So we can straight away use the table. So this one will be PZ from 0 until 1.57 is obtained by what class? Number 2 is 0.4418. So what about number 3, Roman? So we know that this will be P, sorry, the pen is pen. So P Z greater than or equal to 0 minus P from 0 until 0.44. So you will have 0.5 minus 0.1700. So you will get here 0.3300. Okay. What else before we finish? Number 4. Okay. 0.44. Number 4. Let's finish examples. This exercise before we stop. Okay. Number 4, we are talking about this particular area from 0 until negative, let's say negative 0.23 is here, and this is the area greater than negative value, so the whole area here. So we know that this one is 0.5. Okay, so what about this one? So using the symmetrical, what we call concept, so we are talking about from 0 until 0.23. Then you can write down in terms of PZ greater than or equal to 0 plus PZ from 0 until 0.23. And you can have 0.5 plus 0.23 will be 0.091. Okay, 0.091. So you will have 0.591. The total probability value for the whole shaded area here. Number 5, P Z. We need to write down. So if you were to draw, those who cannot understand or cannot imagine, draw. It will be much easier. You are talking about 1.20, okay, and you are talking about less than. So the whole area until the end here. So we know that this is 0.5 and we need to find this. So this will be PZ less than or equal to 0 plus PZ from 0 until 1.2. Okay, so you have 0.5 plus 0.3849. You will get 0.8849. And last one, number 6. Okay, number 6, you're talking about 0.71 negative. Okay, so you're talking about less than. So this is the area, the same area in this shaded area, 0.71. So this will be PZ from 0. This will be PZ greater than or equal to 0 minus PZ from 0 until 0.71. So this will be 0.5 minus 0. So in this case 0.71 will be given by 0.2611. So you will get 0.238. Okay, class. Please try this one. Okay, please try that one before we continue on Wednesday next week. I will be discussing about, we will continue on how to find the probability if you are using